You know, there's a huge difference between just wanting to help people and being a professional who actually can. So today, we're going to dig into what really makes social work a true profession. We're talking about what it takes to turn good intentions into real, structured, effective action.
So let's just jump right in with the big question. When you think of social work, do you think of it as a calling? You know, something driven purely by passion and a big heart. And yeah, that's part of it for sure. But is that the whole story? Or is there something more, a rigorous, systematic framework that makes it a genuinely demanding profession?
Well, it turns out the answer is yes. And it's built on 4 absolutely essential pillars. I want you to picture them like the columns holding up a huge, strong building. We're talking about a solid foundation of knowledge, a specialized toolkit of skills, a moral compass of shared values, and a non-negotiable code of ethics.
All right, so here's the game plan for our little journey today. We're going to look at that foundation of knowledge, then the toolkit of skills, the compass of values, and finally, the rules of conduct. And then we'll put it all together. Sound good? Let's go.
Okay, first up, the pillar of knowledge. See, this is where it gets really interesting because it shows that social work isn't just about having a good heart. It's about having a sharp, well-trained mind that's packed with a deep understanding of people, of society, of how everything connects.
Now, you might think social work is just social work, right? A field all on its own. But nope, it's actually this incredible mashup that pulls from everywhere. It is truly interdisciplinary. It borrows from sociology to get that big picture view, from psychology to understand what makes us tick as individuals, from law to fight for people's rights, and even from indigenous knowledge to tap into that deep, community-specific wisdom. It's amazing.
And here's where the rubber really meets the road, especially in the Indian context. This isn't just dry academic theory. We're talking about a social worker using sociology to understand the complexities of caste dynamics, or using psychology to help trauma survivors heal. They need to know specific laws, like the POCSO Act, to protect kids. It's this perfect, powerful blend of global knowledge and local reality.
But look, knowing stuff is only half the battle, right? That brings us to our second pillar, skills. Because a real profession isn't just about what you know, it's about what you can actually do. And believe me, social workers have an incredibly specialized toolkit.
So what's in this toolkit? Well, you've got a few key categories. There are those crucial interpersonal skills for building trust. Then you've got sharp analytical skills to really dig into a problem. You need intervention skills to actually create change. And, of course, advocacy skills to stand up and fight for people who need a voice.
Let's zoom in on just one of these for a second. Active listening. I know, it sounds so simple, doesn't it? But really stop and think about it. In a society, in a world where so many marginalized voices are just ignored, the simple act of being truly, deeply heard, man, that can be one of the most powerful and transformative interventions there is. And then there's empathy. Now, we got to be clear here. This is not just feeling sorry for someone. That's sympathy. Professional empathy is a whole other level. It's a trained, disciplined ability to step into someone else's shoes, to really understand their reality and their feelings without getting lost in it yourself. It's a fine line, and it's a crucial skill.
And this is where those analytical skills are just so critical. Look, a social worker doesn't just see a child who isn't in school and say, oh, that's a problem. No, they're trained to be detectives. They ask, why? And then they ask, okay, but why that? And they keep digging layer by layer past the surface symptom to find the real root cause. Is it family debt? Is it predatory lending? That's what they need to find out.
Okay, so you've got all this knowledge and you've got all these skills, but what guides you? What points you in the right direction? That brings us to our third pillar, values. This is the profession's true north, its moral compass. These are the core beliefs that have to guide every single decision a social worker makes.
And what's just fascinating to me is how these global, universal social work values resonate so deeply with Indian traditions. I mean, think about it. The core value of human dignity. That perfectly echoes Dr. Ambedkar's lifelong fight for equality. The idea of social justice lines right up with Gandhi's concept of Sarvodaya, the welfare of all. And the commitment to service, well, that's the heart of Seva, a concept everyone understands here.
But let's be real, sticking to these values isn't always a walk in the park. What happens when a social worker's personal beliefs clash with their professional obligations? That's the real test. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. Learning how to navigate those tough situations without ever compromising your ethics or a client's rights,
That's a professional skill that takes a whole career to truly master.
So, if values are the why, the big ideas, then how do you actually put them into practice day to day? Well, that leads us right to our fourth and final pillar, the code of ethics. Think of these as the rules of the road. They are the clear, concrete, actionable rules that turn those lofty values into professional behavior. And these principles, they're the absolute bedrock of trust between a social worker and the people they serve. We're talking about things like informed consent, making sure clients are partners, not just passive recipients of help. We're talking about ironclad confidentiality, and of course, non-discrimination, treating every single person with equal respect, period. It's these rules that guarantee a social worker is acting with integrity.
And this brings up a really unique and kind of tricky situation here in India. You see, unlike doctors or lawyers, social work is largely an unregulated profession. There's no mandatory licensing board making sure everyone sticks to the rules. So what does that mean? It means that the personal and organizational commitment to these ethics, it isn't just important, it is everything. It's the only thing holding up professional standards.
All right, so we've walked through our 4 pillars: knowledge, skills, values, and ethics. Now let's just step back and see how they all lock together to build something really powerful. And here we are, right back where we started. On one side, you've got the idea of a calling, driven by passion and good intentions. And hey, that's crucial. You need that fire. But on the other side, you have a profession, one that's built on a system of knowledge, a toolkit of skills, a compass of values, and a clear code of ethics. And that's what makes social work so much more than just wanting to do good. When you put it all together, these 4 pillars create a profession that is disciplined, that is accountable, and that is effective. They are the engine that takes the fuel of good intentions and turns it into real, measurable, ethical action. Action that's all about one thing: promoting human well-being and fighting for social justice.
So I'll leave you with a final thought to chew on. Now that we can see social work for what it is, this incredibly rigorous professional framework, the real question becomes, what can we as a society do to better support it, to really leverage it to drive the kind of change we all want to see? It's a big question, and I think it matters to every single one of us. Thanks for joining me on this one.